Chapter 3. Vows Beneath the Northern Lights. Are you crazy? Eric snatched the baby. She's only 3 weeks old, how can you stick needles in her? It's Chinese acupuncture, it treats night crying very effectively. Lynn's mother defended herself with confidence. This is Sweden, not the Middle Ages. Eric shouted. Lynn, are you just going to stand there and let your mother hurt our child? Lynn sat on the sofa, face flushed red. Mom means well. Chinese medicine, really. Enough. Eric interrupted. Either your mother stops these dangerous practices, or she leaves. They compromised. Lynn's mother agreed to stop all traditional treatments on the baby and only help care for Lynn Yu's meals. But the atmosphere had been completely shattered, the apartment filled with suffocating silence. 6 weeks into maternity leave, Lynn Yu received an email from the company. The AI department would be reorganizing. As the only team member on leave, she sensed danger immediately. I need to go back to work early, she told Eric at dinner, at least to keep my position. Eric frowned. Why so hurry? You have 10 months of paid leave. If I wait 10 months, I might lose the job. Lynn said anxiously. Tech moves fast, being gone even 6 months can mean you're obsolete. That's fine, Eric dismissed. You can spend more time with Erica. Kids need their mother more. Lynn's eyes widened. What do you mean? You want me to be a full-time mom? Why not? Eric shrugged. In Sweden, many mothers stay home with kids until age 3. But that's their choice. Lynn's voice trembled. I have a PhD, a career, I don't want to give it up. No one's asking you to give up, Eric spoke calmly. Just delay it a few years until Erica starts daycare. My skills will be outdated in those years, she interrupted. Do you know how hard it is for women to re-enter tech? Especially in technical roles. Eric set down his fork. So your job is more important than raising our daughter? That cut like a knife. Lynn opened her mouth but was unable to speak. In Sweden, long maternal leave is normal. In China, returning to work quickly after giving birth is the norm. Neither is inherently right, only deeply rooted cultural differences. That night, Lynn lay awake. She quietly went into the nursery and looked at her sleeping daughter. Moonlight filtered in, highlighting baby Erica's face with a silver glow. This child, born of Chinese and Swedish heritage, which culture would she identify with? Which language would she speak first? Which values would she grow up with? Lynn didn't know the answers. She only knew she didn't want to entirely abandon Chinese-style parenting, but couldn't force Eric to accept all Chinese traditions. She also yearned for career development, yet hated missing her daughter's early growth moments. The next day was Lynn Yu's birthday. After weeks of tension, she had no expectations. That afternoon, while she and her mother were making dumplings, Eric came home early, holding a beautifully wrapped gift. Happy birthday. He kissed her cheek and handed over the gift. Open it. Inside was a Chinese-Swedish bilingual fairy tale book titled A Fairy Tale Under the Northern Lights. I searched a long time for a good bilingual book, Eric said shyly. I thought, maybe we can teach Erica Chinese together. A few nights a week, the whole family studies. Lynn's eyes watered. It was Eric's first proactive step towards supporting their child's Chinese education, not a compromise or concession, but genuine involvement. Thank you. She choked out, then noticed handwriting on the opening page, Eric's clumsy Chinese. To the person I love most. May our love, like the northern lights, cross all boundaries. Lynn's mother watched silently with a complex expression. That night, she even mustered simple English to speak with Eric and tried his homemade Swedish meatballs. Late that night, Lynn leaned on Eric's shoulder. Let's hire a nanny, she whispered. Then Mom can go home sooner and I can maybe start part-time work. Eric stroked her hair. I'm thinking maybe we can alternate leave? Sweden allows paternal leave. Lynn looked up. You'd stay home with the baby? Why not? Eric smiled. She's our daughter, not just your responsibility. Outside the window, Stockholm's night sky suddenly shimmered with a faint green glow, a rare early glimpse of the northern lights. Lynn, holding sleeping Erica, stood shoulder to shoulder with Eric, watching the dancing glow. 3 different heartbeats beat as one, fleeting and precious. Back at the Nordstrom office building, Lynn Yu stood before the glass doors and took a deep breath, adjusting her ID badge. She had compressed 4 months of maternity leave into just 2, barely the shortest she could negotiate. She wore her pre-pregnancy suit jacket, light makeup, Hair pulled into a neat ponytail, everything looked as professional as on the day she left, as though those months away had been a short break. As the automatic door slid open, receptionist Lisa was stunned. "Dr. Lin? You're back already?" "Projects can't wait," Lin smiled. Her voice was even lighter than she expected. In the elevator, her phone buzzed. A photo from baby Erica sleeping on his chest, golden fuzz nearly translucent in the sun. The caption read, "We miss you." Lin paused, then replied with a simple smiling emoji. The office seemed more crowded than she remembered. New faces glanced at her curiously. Colleagues who remained welcomed her back, but Lin noticed subtle pity in their eyes. "Welcome back," her direct manager Anders said, patting her shoulder. "But you could have taken more time." "Hannah is doing well leading your project." Lin felt a knot in her stomach. "Hannah?" she said, stunned. "I thought it was just temporary." "Post-restructure adjustments." Anders avoided her gaze. "We'll discuss later." Her desk had been moved to a corner by the window, now cluttered with files from other departments. Logging into her computer, she discovered her permissions had been reduced. Several key databases were inaccessible. At lunch, colleague Marta explained everything. The department was downsized while Lin was on leave. A third of the team laid off. The main project she led had been handed over to Hanna, a newly graduated Swedish woman from Lund University. "They can't do this." Lin's voice trembled with anger. "That project was my baby," Marta shrugged. "You know how tech companies treat women on maternity leave. Plus, Hannah's Anders' niece probably helps." On the way back to her desk, Lin passed the meeting room and peered in. Through the glass, she saw Hannah presenting Lin's algorithms and code to executives, the very work Lin had developed. Hannah wore casual jeans and a t-shirt, speaking confidently. So different from Lin's buttoned-up, rigid style. In that moment, Lin understood her predicament in Swedish tech. She was too Chinese, not Swedish enough. No matter how skilled, she could never truly fit in. That evening, returning home felt heavy. In the apartment, Eric sat on the carpet reading a picture book to Erica while pasta aroma filled the air. "First day back?" he asked, looking up. Baby Erica reached toward Lin with her chubby hand. Lin picked up Erica, resting her cheek on the infant's soft neck, lingering in that moment without responding. She didn't want to complain on her first day back. But when she looked into Eric's expectant eyes, the hurt she'd bottled up all day finally burst. "They gave away my project," she said, voice cracking. 4 years of work. Just stolen. Eric frowned. "That's against policy you have a right to." "Policy won't help," Lin interrupted. "Isn't Sweden supposed to be the most equal country? But leave for motherhood and the bias kicks in even here. Maybe it's just temporary," Eric tried to soothe. "Once you fully return." "There is no fully return." Lin forced a bitter laugh. "I've been sidelined. They even denied my server permissions today." Erica, sensing her mother's distress, squirmed in Lin's arms. Lin rocked her mechanically, but her mind drifted. If she had stayed in Beijing. China's maternity leave is shorter, sure, but at least she wouldn't risk losing career ground. "Hey," Eric gently took her shoulder. "Tomorrow will be better. If it doesn't work here, we could..." "Could what?" Lin asked sharply. "Make me the full-time stay-at-home mom?" Eric withdrew. "I just meant we have options." But Lin thought, this isn't an option, it's surrender, compromise, and conceding defeat. Over the next 2 weeks, things deteriorated. Lin was given marginal technical support roles, far from core decisions. What frustrated her most was her inability to fully engage in work. When she stayed late, anxiety ate her. What about Erica at home? When she left early, colleagues stared. Friday afternoon, when Hannah borrowed Lin's algorithm notes without asking, Lin finally broke. "That's my private work folder," she snapped, grabbing it back. "If you want to use it, ask me first." Hannah blinked, taken aback. "I thought we're a team." "Teams respect each other." Lin set her jaw. Silence fell. Several disapproving looks were directed at Lin as though she was the unreasonable one. Sweden's celebrated harmony culture now seemed hypocritical. Beneath the calm lay equally fierce and hidden competition. Weekend relief. Eric suggested a family getaway to a lakeside cabin. "You need to relax, get away from work a few days." Lin wanted to refuse. She planned to use the weekend to learn a new programming framework to make up for lost ground. But she agreed when she saw Erica happily clapping in her stroller. The cabin lay on a lake, surrounded by pines. Late Swedish summer sunlight played on the water with speckles of gold. Eric busied himself making a barbecue fire while Lynn played with Erica on the porch. Let her nap in the stroller, Eric advised. Swedish docs say outdoor naps help immunity. Lynn hesitated, then moved the stroller to a shaded spot. Erica quickly fell asleep, little arms raised overhead like a peaceful surrender. I'm gathering kindling, Eric kissed Lynn's forehead. You watch the fire. Lynn took out her phone to check email. A message from Tsinghua Professor Zheng made her hold her breath, and an ice startup in Beijing was looking for a technical director, and Zhang had recommended her. They offer equity and high salary, value your international experience, the email read. Her fingers trembled. This was more than a job, it was a return to China's tech core, a professional breakthrough she'd been longing for since maternity leave. But, look, Eric's voice broke her thoughts. He returned triumphant, holding gathered firewood. I found wild blueberries by the lake. Lynn hurriedly locked her screen. Great. At dinner, Lynn pushed her food around distractedly, the professor's offer burning in her mind. How would she tell Eric? Would he understand how crucial it was for her career? You've been quiet today. Eric offered her a glass of wine. Work still troubling you? Lynn shook her head, but then tentatively tested. I was thinking, what if a great job opportunity came in China? Would you consider moving? Eric froze. China? Are you serious? Just hypothetically. Erica is only 6 months, Eric frowned. China has pollution, food safety, and a super competitive education system. Beijing airs much better now, Lynn responded. Plus international schools. We live in Sweden, Eric cut her off. We have the world's best welfare system here, why give up? Lynn felt pressure in her chest. For my career? For Erica to know her Chinese heritage? You can rebuild your career here, Eric's tone hardened. As for culture, we can visit on holidays. The conversation ended badly. That night, Lynn lay awake in the narrow cabin bed. Eric pretended to sleep. Their invisible wall had returned. Early the next morning, Lynn was awakened by Erica's cries. She woke, but found the stroller empty. Panic rose. She rushed outside. Eric was standing by the lake with Erica wearing only a diaper, her tiny feet in the chilly water. Lynn's scream startled the birds. What are you doing? She rushed forward, taking the baby. Water's freezing, she gets sick. It's a Swedish tradition, Eric said innocently. To expose babies to nature for immunity. I used to. This isn't the Swedish countryside? Lynn wrapped Erica tightly in a blanket. And she's 6 months, not 6 years. You're too protective, Eric frowned. Look at you, can't even let her cry a moment? Are all Chinese moms like this? At least Chinese moms don't risk pneumonia, Lynn was furious. You always assume Swedish ways are best, never considering my feelings or my culture. What about me? Eric raised his voice. Do you consider my feelings? Suddenly talking about moving to China as if Erica is only your child. Their shouting drew attention from campers nearby. Lynn, holding her crying baby, ran back to the cabin and slammed the door forcefully. Her heart hammered and tears poured freely. It wasn't their first cultural clash, but first involving their child's health and safety. Once that line is crossed, compromise becomes nearly impossible. On the drive back to Stockholm, the silence was nearly as solid as ice. Erica slept in her car seat, moon-dry from tears. Lynn looked out the window, for the first time truly wondering about the future of this marriage. If they can't agree on basic parenting methods, if they must constantly choose between Sweden and China, if her career must always yield to motherhood... how long can this marriage last? Monday morning, Lynn requested a sick day. After Eric left for work, she replied to Professor Zheng's email, expressing strong interest and asking for more details. Then she logged into LinkedIn. The AI industry in China still went too long without her.